Do you want to know why the mental disorder of the left is so pervasive in today's society? Do you want to know why every 5 minutes of a mundane Senate confirmation hearing for a Supreme Court nominee is interrupted by protesters saying pro-LGBT, save our abortions, vote no, vote no? Do you want to know why big tech companies are just mass censoring and banning people and deplatforming them? Do you want to know why? It's because people haven't been educated. It's because for the past couple of decades, people who have been going to university have been indoctrinated in socialism. And that's what leftism is. It's socialism. It is a staunch reality that we have to understand. America was built on liberalism, liberal and conservative values. I mean, let me say that again. America was built on a good mixture of liberal and conservative values. Socialism has nothing to do with any of that. But the people on the left have been able to co-opt and associate the term liberalism with them so they can infiltrate local, state, federal legislation and start actually pushing towards socialism. We've seen that with the massive welfare state that has been built up in the United States here. The very open borders, or the pro-open borders ideas of people who are even in the very areas that will be affected hardcore by mass immigration. Like somebody living in San Diego is like, yeah, I'm all for open borders, and then all of a sudden they'll be having migrants sitting on their curbs all over the place. Or people in San Francisco, yes, I I need to I feel like we need to protect the homeless and protect them by giving them more drugs. And oh look, now there's needles all over the place. Yeah, let's give the non-binary and transgender people, about 3% of the population, let's let them feel safe by letting them use the bathrooms that they want. And oh look, now there's rise in the number of sexual attacks happening in bathrooms. I mean, particularly in the UK. That's where I'm pulling that story from. But all these things are connected based on the fact that the people are have not been educated properly. Now, I don't blame people like Aaron Gupta for writing this dumpster fire. Like, why young men of color are joining white supremacist groups. I'm not even going to read the article. I'm sure you guys have seen it. Tim Pool has covered it, but it completely contradicts itself. But they don't even realize it. The contradictions they'll put down in one paragraph are are blatantly obvious to anybody who has a brain and can remember for 3 seconds. That's not what you said the paragraph before. But remember, when it comes to the left, it doesn't matter whether or not it's correct or not. It's just it needs to be a part of the agenda or narrative so we can keep pushing, because they use emotional arguments to get what they want for a lot of the time. So why do we have people screaming and shouting and saying vote no, don't let Brett Kavanaugh become the next Supreme Court justice? Is because these people are gullible enough to believe in something as in people of color are joining white supremacist groups, even though if it becomes a multicultural group, then it's not supremacist. Here's a quick analogy for you. In World War II, after the Allies invaded France, they enjoyed a time of air supremacy. That was after the Luftwaffe was smashed and the Germans couldn't put a single plane in the sky. The Allies controlled it all. That's what supremacy means. We have complete and total control of this area. Like, nobody else is in here but us. Superiority is, yeah, we're here, we're like the bigger force, but there's still, like, some other people around that and in this area. But no. Supremacy means complete and total homogeneity of one area. But that's impossible now if men of color joining white supremacist groups. So are they even white supremacists? See, like, it refutes itself, and if you try to dig deeper, if you have a brain, it just makes your brain hurt. But if you've been a gullible goldfish and you have no brain, this is perfectly, yes, exactly. Yes, these white supremacists, these evil Nazis, they're everywhere. Uh, uh, Vote Ocasio-Cortez. See, there you go. That's the thought process. That's the thought train. So we have this big problem, big problem, and it's not just in the fact that people are disrupting Senate hearings, but it's the fact that people are getting silenced for their opinions. Case in point, Alex Jones. He was deplatformed off of pretty much almost every major site on the internet because, people said he's hateful. What is hate? Well, some people hate the truth because it doesn't go their way. So is that now hate speech? Is the truth now hate speech? See, that's why free speech is the essence of hate. Like, hate speech is the essence of free speech. You need to be allowed to say things people don't like. It and vice versa. They should be allowed to say things that you don't like because somebody has invested their time and energy into believing in something that you find stupid or folly. But you cannot just give up, or you cannot just take away their ability to express themselves because you don't like it. So yes, hate speech is free speech. But remember, that's a liberal mindset. That is on both the right and the left and in the center. That's a liberal mindset. But remember, we're not dealing with liberals here. We're dealing with leftists. We're dealing with socialists. They want to socially engineer this Western society. They want to socially engineer Western civilization into something else. They want to change it from the ground up, socially, economically, culturally. They want to completely dismantle what we have here in the West, which is working. I mean, well, what we have in the West does work, but it's also what they're doing to the West is working. So sorry, I was a little bit unclear there, but we need to fight back. And yesterday was a very big day because Alex Jones, if you watch his periscopes or if you saw any of the videos, he was laying down the truths, the info that people don't want to hear. He was, in essence, doing what everybody needs to do every second of the day, saying what you feel, no matter who's going to disagree with you. And it's gotten so bad that he had to actually go all the way to the U.S. Capitol just so he could air his grievances and try to face his abusers, such as Jack Dorsey and Sheryl Sandberg, former of Twitter and the latter of Facebook. But it's good that we are fighting on these fronts. It's good that we're fighting there. Like, Alex has had to go all the way to D.C. to do it. People like me will go out and protest for our rights to free speech and to not be silenced based on what a couple dozen companies in leftist San Francisco think we should be thinking, honestly. But in order to nip this in the bud, we need to go to the source. And the source are the colleges and the universities, which have these tenured professors in there who were the Berkeley radicals of the 60s, the hippie commies of the 60s, who have been for the past, like, at least since the 80s and late 70s, indoctrinating people into believing that Western culture is horrible, America is just full of racists, sexists, xenophobes, it's violent. I mean, yeah, America isn't perfect, but just like Abraham Lincoln said, America is the last best hope of Earth. So you have to weigh the pros and the cons, but you have to see that America has driven the economic changing of the world. America has like the the inventions that America has created, or not even America, but Western civilization, have we like Western civilization has invented 98% of like the things that we know now, like technology, etc., etc. The 2% comes from the rest of the world. So there has to be something said that we're doing something right here. So like America and the West has lifted the world out, like a vast majority of the world out of poverty. And what do we get for it? Like no good deed goes unpunished. These people will be like, "Oh, well, now we want more," or "Hey, you've given this one country this big old golden goose. We want like this other country wants some of that too." Let's say this other country is a socialist country. Instead of working for themselves, they see that this nice rich country over there is is following a nice capitalist society, and they're like, no, can't have that. We need to browbeat them. We need to go to the international community and claim how unfair it is that they live right across the border and they could help us, but they're just evil capitalists. I know I was going off on a little bit of a tangent there, but to get back to this, leftism is a mental disorder. It's affecting all areas of our society, and if people are gullible enough to fall for a 4chan hoax and say that the OK sign means white power now, then it's not surprising that you have people obstructing like congressmen and senators as they're just trying to do a simple confirmation hearing and get somebody to become a new Supreme Court justice. But remember, it doesn't matter to socialists. They need to win. So they'll do whatever tactics they have. They'll use whatever tactics they have to get what they want. It doesn't matter if it's blatantly obvious that there is no reality behind what you're writing. It doesn't matter if you're told, "Hey, this is a hoax," but then you'll completely disregard that and say, "Okay, maybe it's a hoax, but now it's used as white supremacist sign." No, you've just fallen for it. You've just completely, utterly fallen for the troll, and that's as simple as that. So if you have people who are completely skewed in the head and have been churned out of these universities to the point where their brain is mush, and they're going to be susceptible to something like a 4chan hoax, then these people don't have the constitution to effectively live in our society. Western, like, liberal, conservative, valued society. These people need to go where they'll like it. Like, go to Venezuela, go to Nicaragua. I mean, go somewhere, go to China. I mean, Google, I mean, Apple, they're moving to China. Like they've moved the cloud, the iCloud, all that information and stuff has now been moved to Chinese servers. So, and the Chinese government is trying to pass laws that state that these servers need to allow the Chinese government access to, make sure things are okay or whatever. Oh, so then the Chinese would have direct access to everybody's cloud information, including here in the West. Yeah, I don't see any problem with that, right? No. But no, these people, they're nuts. These lefties, they're not liberals. Liberalism is not a mental disorder. It's the left. We need to nip this in the bud. We need to nip it in the bud now. And Alex Jones is pretty much at the tip of the spear when it comes to this. He knows what's going on. He's calling the people out who are subverting our culture, subverting the rule of law, just to push an agenda and to get socialism in as the popular idea. But I think I'm going to wrap it up here. This has been the Swamp Cleaner. I hope you guys have a good day. See you later.